Hey everyone, and welcome to an afternoon of learning with Phi Theta Kappa's student engagement team. We are so excited to see you, whether you are joining us live today or whether you are one of the participants who will be engaging with this material later. We love learning. We love Phi Theta Kappa programs, and we love Phi Theta Kappa advisors. So we really appreciate you taking the time to be here. One of the things we noticed over the course of the pandemic that we went through and virtual learning and all the new things that we learned, and as we've been re-engaging and we see student engagement, I think, blowing up on college campuses, people really hungry to connect and to learn and to grow as leaders and scholars. And I think really hungry to engage with people, right? To get to know people, to make their college experience something more than just kind of collecting credits, but also learning and growing and personally developing. We are just seeing lots and lots of new advisors. Our number of advisors, what we call our student success army, is higher than it's ever been. And we have lots and lots of new folks. And so I want to speak, especially as we get started, to those of you who are maybe relatively new or still learning. I know we have some folks on here that just became a Phi Theta Kappa advisor. And I want to tell you that I was once where you are, a brand new advisor, just kind of thrown into the role. Candidly, when I was asked, sort of told to be Phi Theta Kappa advisor, it was at a community college where I live here in Houston, Texas. And I did not know anything about Phi Theta Kappa, and I probably called it something wrong for the first few months. I was confusing the Phi Theta Kappa with our Beta Lambda Mu, which is our chapter name. And it can be confusing. And what we want to do is to make this process of being an advisor as seamless and as easy and as fun as it possibly can be. But let me just tell you to start, to be a Phi Theta Kappa advisor is to be part of the broadest, smartest, most fun, laughter-filled network of higher education professionals and student success champions that you could ever imagine. You don't know this now, but if you were just joining our little organization, our 103-year-old little organization that could, if you are just joining us, you don't know this, but you probably have lifelong friends. You have people that may come to be like your family that are a part of this organization. You don't even realize you're going to meet them at a regional meeting. You're going to meet them maybe engaging, bringing chapters together. Maybe when you come to PTK Catalyst in Denver this year, you're going to get to know people. And we are really excited to work with you and excited to celebrate all the things that you do. Patty, if you'll switch over to the next slide for me, I wanted to just really briefly, we have lots of some logistics. Oh, the next one more after that. They don't need to see all that. There we go. Okay. But we are going to be talking today about Hallmarks 101. And if you are an advisor and you're just saying, I don't even know what Hallmarks is, I'm not sure about a 5-star chapter, what does this mean? Let me speak directly to you. If you right now haven't even started on 5-star, you don't know what Hallmarks are, I'm going to tell you, it is within your power to be named a 5-star chapter at our annual convention in Denver. And whether or not you're able to be there, it is within your power to be able to go back to your administration and your faculty and your campus community and say, we are a 5-star Phi Theta Kappa chapter. A lot of times when people look at the requirements and you kind of see all the things, your initial thought is, as mine was, oh gosh, I don't know if I can do this. But I'm here to tell you, 5-star basically just means you are participating in our programs at a level where you're engaging with them. It doesn't mean that you necessarily have to win the awards. Your project doesn't necessarily have to be the top project, although it could be. To be a 5-star chapter, the big things, if you go to the next slide for me, Patty, I want to show them this. The big things that you really need to be 5-star, the kind of barriers, I think, that a lot of people don't think about. You need a college project of some kind. You need an honors in action of project of some kind, and you need one individual award entry. That means maybe you nominated your fellow advisor, maybe you nominated a distinguished chapter member, distinguished chapter officer, maybe an administrator, a president, a college administrator, state director, somebody that supported your chapter. It's not as hard as you think to be a 5-star chapter. And even if you're just getting going, we have chapters every year that really, and it's kind of natural. Maybe the college project, you don't start on that until a little later. Maybe Honors in Action comes together in the months of November and December. Then you submit it in January. That is totally okay. And so I challenge you, if you will engage with our programs, if you'll say, we want to be a 5-star chapter this year, the result is that by the time you finish, you will have new relationships with students that they will then see you as a mentor. You will be able to help your students build up their resume for transfer and workforce success. And what I consider to be the most important thing, the students at your college and in your chapter will begin to see themselves in a new way. They may not have thought of themselves as leaders. They may not have thought of themselves as someone who could do a research project, but you and I both know that community colleges are the future of higher education, and that our students ultimately are able to perform and do perform just as well when they get to university as the students that started there. There is no reason that your students shouldn't transform the way they see themselves. And a major way to do that is by having them involved in getting your chapter to be a 5-star chapter. And you know what? When you submit those nominations, you very well may win. Your chapter may end up on top, and you may be awarded at the international level. And then if not that, maybe even awarded at the regional level. So I am here to thank you for your service, here to make sure that you know our whole student engagement team wants to keep engaging with you, to support you. No question for us is too small. If you say, oh my goodness, I just want to upload members and I'm not sure how, we will help you. We will connect you. If you say, I'm really not sure about Hallmark Awards, what I need to do, we have this webinar, but we're also able to work with you every step of the way, because we really believe in these programs and we have seen what happens when students participate in them. Life-changing things. I got to say just one little thing, because last night I was engaging, because one of my former students from, I guess, 6 years ago, she has now finished her degree and she's applying for a doctorate for to become a nurse practitioner at the University of Pennsylvania. So she came over and we were going through the application, and just kind of anecdotally, we started thinking about her chapter officer team, and we started going through like where we were when we started and where they are now. And we're like, George Washington University graduate, Department of Justice, Cornell University, Occidental College, University of Texas, Jack Kent Cooke, all the things that happen simply because we got together and we're like, let's try to do this Honors in Action project. And you know what? We didn't win that year. We didn't even come close to winning. We just submitted it and we were 5-star, but the process was so transformational for those students that we still stay in touch today. So PTK advisors, for your service, we are so happy you're here to learn with us today. Having said that, I'm going to jump off. I'll be here with you, but I'm going to stop talking at least. And I want to turn it over to a very important person who you really want to get to know, our Associate Vice President of Program Implementation, Jennifer Stanford. Jennifer had a hand in creating so many of the programs that we run, and I actually don't know anyone more knowledgeable. There is no one more knowledgeable about our Hallmark Awards program. I see Glenn Roffling, shout out to Colorado. You know Jennifer, you know what's up. So it's good to see you here, my friend. But Pikes Peak Community College, Glenn Roffling. But Jennifer Stanford is a friend and an ally to all of our chapter advisors and all the work that you do. So she's going to talk a little bit about why we have Hallmark Awards. And then after that, we'll get into some of the granular issues of how you literally submit, how you literally do these awards. But thank you for your service, and cheers to a wonderful Hallmark Awards program in October, November, December, January, and then celebrating them at Catalyst in 2022. Thank y'all.
Thanks, Blake. Wow. Okay. I really am just going to talk briefly just to kind of ground us in the foundation of why it says on the screen, why do we have Hallmark Awards? Well, Patty, you can move to the next one. As you guys know, our mission is twofold. First and foremost is that all important recognition, that validation of students' academic excellence. And then the second part of our mission of coming alongside them and helping give them experience, leadership roles, workplace skills development, all those things that are going to make them more competitive for reaching whatever goals they've set for themselves, whether that's scholarships, moving right into the workforce or transferring to a four-year college. And as Blake says, I mean, this really is an extraordinary experience for advisors and members. We want you all to feel the benefits of that too, and know that this is a leadership lab experience for your students. As Blake said, it's really important that the scope of the project be up to the chapter. It's based on your time frame, your resources for that moment in time. And so going through that process is so valuable. And it really does give them those transferable skills, even if they don't get involved until the final stages of a project, or even with the Hallmark Awards entry process. They're still going to have all of these skills that they can practice, that they can use in job interviews and scholarship applications. And it's also a significant part of that service learning foundation that is inherent in our programs, both Honors in Action and College Project. And so I know, as faculty and staff are very familiar with that, and that cycle of action followed by reflection, so that it really solidifies those lessons learned and what it means to their community, what it means to be a civic, to be an engaged citizen in our world. So I've got recognition there 3 times, because even just going through a Hallmark Award entry, not only do you get the 5-star recognition, but it certainly can be shared on their resumes. They can say they've been nominated for an individual award, participated in the process of Hallmark Awards submissions. And, as also Blake said, it's entering both the regional and the international competition. So there's recognition available literally on all 3 levels of Phi Theta Kappa. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Patty to get more into the specifics of our Hallmark Award categories.
Thanks, Jennifer. Thanks, Blake. Hi, everybody. Along with my colleague, Ryan, we serve as the Chapter Outreach and Development Coordinators for Phi Theta Kappa. We're here to answer questions and support you at any time that you need them. Just reach out to us. And what I'd like to start off first with today is actually talking a little bit about the individual Hallmark Award categories, right? And one of the things that can really benefit us in this process is knowing where each one fits, right? So we have 3 categories in the individual awards. We have administrator awards, the Distinguished Administrator Awards, the Paragon New President, the Gordon Award, the Bennett, and the Community College State Director Awards. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. That's the first set of hallmarks that are due this year, and they are due on December the 8th at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. The next 2 categories are member awards and then advisor awards. So under the member awards umbrella, we have chapter officer team, which is submitted by the chapter advisor. We have chapter officer, where 2 officers per chapter can be nominated for this award. And then the chapter member, where it's just 1 chapter member. And we'll get in the details on that in a second as well. And the last award, along with the member awards, those are due on Wednesday, January the 12th. It's the 2nd deadline. And with the advisors awards, we have categories under advisor team. That's the entire team at a chapter. The Paragon New Advisor Award, the Distinguished Advisor, and the Continued Excellence Advisor. And I know that we're speaking to mostly advisors right now, but we get the opportunity in a couple of weeks to speak to chapter officers and leaders about these awards to make sure that they know these categories and how to best go about the process of these awards. Like I said a little bit ago, on the deadline, the very first deadline is December the 8th, and that covers the administrator awards. And for this particular category, there in the Hallmark Awards, there are what we call nominations, right? Some award applications require 2 nominations, and some are just 1. So for the college administrators, and that's for your vice presidents, your deans who have served more than 3 years at your college supporting the chapter, it requires a nomination written by the chapter. Okay, so the chapter members would gather together and complete that nomination form, and also work with the advisors so that the college administrator knows that they're going to be nominated in case they need to do an interview of them or for some other reason. The newest administrator award is the Paragon President Award. And that's can be used for chapters to nominate a college president who's only served 1 to 3 years at their college. And that too is a chapter nomination that is required. Moving on to the Gordon Award. That is for college presidents and CEOs who have served more than 5 years. And that is a chapter nomination. The Bennett Award is for retiring presidents and CEOs that have served 5 or more years, and that's also a chapter nomination. And the Community College State Director is for someone who supports, say, like the All USA or programs that go on in your state, and they've served more than 3 years, and that is a chapter nomination. The Member and Advisor Award. So for this word gets a little tricky, but it's really easy to do. The deadline for this is January the 12th. And for chapter officer team entry, it's a nomination that's required by the advisor only. So only the advisor submits the nomination for the chapter officer team. And when we say chapter officer team, it's every officer that has been reported as an officer for your chapter. For this current year from January 1st to December 31st. The Chapter Officer Award, it requires a nomination from the chapter and the advisor, right? So it would have to be that a portion, the advisor would do their nomination, the chapter would do theirs, and together that would be submitted as the entry for the Chapter Officer Award. Just like for Chapter Officer Team, chapter officers must have been reported from January 1st to December 31st of this year and have served in this year. This is someone who was elected and the advisor reported as such. Chapter member also is a chapter and an advisor nomination. And with the chapter member, we want to make sure that this person has not been reported as an officer at any time during the year. Now, it could be someone that has was a committee leader or handled certain things at the chapter, but it wasn't an elected position that they were reported to headquarters as a chapter officer. And we really encourage all of our chapters to submit in these categories, especially for chapter member and officer. They're all very important, and it also gives them, recognition for engaging in the chapter this year. The advisor awards, starting with chapter advisor team. This is for the contact advisor and their co-advisors. There's 2 nominations. One is from the chapter and the other is from the college's administrator, right? So if this particular, and I tell students, when you are going to submit a Hallmark Award entry that requires an administrator nomination, please do not wait, in this case, till January 11th to ask them for the nomination. It's something that they really need to be doing in advance. And by the way, the system is up and running. They could easily start these now and have that back and forth with the administration to get those nominations, right? The Paragon Awards for new advisors are for advisors that have served under 1 to 4 years, have 1 to 4 years of service as an advisor. It is awarded one time. That too has a chapter and an administrator, a nomination. The Distinguished Advisor is awarded one time as well, and that's for advisors that have served 5 years and over, right? And it's only awarded once, but if they have already received the Distinguished Advisor Award and you would like to submit for the Continued Excellence Advisor Award, you can do that as well. And that is awarded correct me if I'm wrong, Jennifer, that's every other year that an advisor is eligible for the Continued Excellence Award, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Right. And that too is also a chapter and an administrator nomination. Now, we will always encourage our officers and chapter members that contact us and say, well, we want to submit for our advisor, but we don't know. They can contact us and we will check on that for them and make sure that they have the correct category for their advisor team. But again, both sets of these awards, whether they are administrator or advisors, are due January 12th at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. How many member awards can we submit per chapter per year? Is one chapter member. And the process is, based on whatever process you have at your campus and your chapter for selecting them, those that you're going to nominate for. The two big ones, right? This is the one that, this is the last category and the last deadline date. And this would be for our chapter Hallmark Awards. This is for College Project and Honors in Action. And these two is where I would suggest to you, when you are working on your entries for this, we really want you to show and tell your chapter story, right? Your chapter story with College Project. Tell us the story where you designed a project that strengthened the supportive working relationship between you and the college's administration, right? We want you to hear the process that you went through to get to that point, to get that college project implemented. And with the Honors in Action, we want you to tell us and show us your story that combines academic research, problem solving, and action-oriented service to address real-world challenges in our communities. Of course, these are the two largest entries that need to be worked on. And guess what? Good news here too. You can have we'll talk a little bit more about it, but you can start the process with these working outside of the Hallmark Award application just to get it started. These two awards, the deadline dates are January 19th at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. I think Ryan wanted for the advisor award. Okay, we're going to talk about applications in a second. Okay, we got it. So Ryan, you wanted to add something to this, I believe?
Yes, so just to let you all know, it is not too late to start your projects. I know you're like, oh my gosh, tomorrow is November, because right now it's October, it's the middle of October, or almost 2 weeks left of October, but you can do it. You can really do it. Not just College Project, but Honors in Action. College Project, just make sure you're working with your college administration, but you can definitely get it done. There's something on campus, especially because we're coming back in person, there's something on campus that can be done, and your college administration is going to eat it up and just want you to be a part of that. And then with Honors in Action, it's not too late. It's not too late to do some real world type research. It's not too late to collaborate with your librarians, or collaborate with another club, or collaborate with another faculty member. It's not too late. And then for January 19th, I know that is our deadline. And just remember, it's 5 o'clock Central Standard Time, but you also don't want to try to turn it in at 4:57 Central Standard Time, because everybody is uploading stuff and everybody is going to be online, and you just don't want, the way technology works, it'd be your time where it's just stuck, or the Wi-Fi is out or something. You just don't want that to happen. So turning it in early is okay. You don't have to wait till the deadline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks.
Hi, Annie.
I just wanted to go back and reiterate something too. When we talked about, if you're going for that, if you are going to be a 5-star chapter, which we know you will be, and you have to submit those 3 entries to satisfy the requirements, 1 individual award, and then the College Project and the Honors in Action. And if you have a tough time deciding on what you're going to do as far as submissions for the individual award, we encourage you to think about your college's administration, right? They've done a lot these last couple of years to keep us going. And I'm sure there is an administrator on your campus that would appreciate it and deserves the recognition. So keep that in mind as we go forward. Okay, moving on. Okay, Ryan.
All right. I know our slides got kind of mixed up, so I was counting in my head.
Yeah.
Like slide 1, slide 2, slide 3. Okay, so how to apply. That's step one on how to do that. So first, chapter advisors are to report Hallmark Award delegates. And then you're like, what does that mean, Ryan? So you can go on to my.ptk.org. We can all say it together. You're still muted, but we can all say it together. my.ptk.org. This is where you're going to give an officer or a member access to submit hallmarks along with you. But the advisor must report the member as a Hallmark Awards chapter delegate. That is so important. So the same way that you report your members and officers is going to be the same format, kind of how you're going to report the delegates. So in order for you to have, and you have to add yourself too. Is that still true, Jennifer and Blake? Because I remember I had to add myself, or I had to add another advisor. And since I haven't been an advisor in a while, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, you do not have to add yourself as an advisor. Advisors, as soon as they log in,
Okay.
they'll automatically see all of the Hallmark Award applications.
Okay.
So just the student.
When I was advisor, I had to add myself and I had to add Steve, and it was a long process. But now
Yes.
we're up to date. So my.ptk.org is where you're going to report your officer or member as a Hallmark Award chapter delegate. That's step one.
Okay. So the Hallmark Awards chapter delegate position should be given to a chapter officer or member who will be responsible for entering the content into the online awards. So the advisor first goes in, sets up the collaboration team, and decides who will have access to these awards. It doesn't require every chapter officer team to have access to it, because one of the things that you will find out that only one person can have access to the award at one time, right? Even if they're in different locations. So if someone wants to go in and update the application, only one person will be able to do it at a time. We highly, 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 I wish I could stand on my head, suggest, encourage, beg, all of that you collaborate on your Hallmark Award entries outside of the award system before you go in to put them in there. Whether you use Microsoft Teams, Google Drive, Discord. I know some chapters do all of their work on Discord. Anywhere outside other than the system, and get it to almost perfect entry before you have someone go in and transfer, copy and paste that information into the online system. What does that mean now is, if you have the rubrics, and I know all the advisors have the rubrics, if you create a Word document that puts the question for, the first question, and what I did as an advisor would only give them what you could get, what you had to answer to receive 10 points right underneath of it, right? And then you enter in your information that you want to do, and you can work on that, keeping a focus on trying to get the most points possible. So the more that you work on the outside of the award system, the better. Ryan?
All right. So how to report. Hallmark Award delegates. The process to report is the same as reporting a chapter officer. So can I click on that and we'll be able to show it? Or are we going to email that to them?
No.
I can't click on it.
Yeah. Those when we send this PowerPoint, it will give them detailed instructions on how to do it. And going into, you have to go into ptk.org. It's the same process when you're reporting that chapter officer and looking them up. And instead of calling them an officer, you're going to call them a delegate. And when you receive this PowerPoint, you will see the link to the detailed instructions.
It was just funny. I was trying to click and I knew I couldn't click, and then I'm still trying to click. So if you have questions after this session, give us a couple days. We will send the recording to you all, and the detailed instructions on how to report will be in the email that we send out to everyone.
Let me see if I can just click on this now so everybody can see what it looks like. And I just don't want to lose anything. Hold on. Did it come up on the screen, Ryan?
No, it did not. We're still
Yeah.
on how to report.
Yeah, no. hold
You
on.
would have to change your screen, Patty. So I think you have part of that document on the next slide. So
Yeah, I do. I think so. Okay, so, no. So submitting application, Jennifer, I think this is step 2, right? For you, submitting,
yes, do you want me to cover it?
yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead. And I'll work on getting the other thing up so we can show it later.
Okay, sure. So the reason why we have these 3 sets of people here is that technically, as Patty mentioned, as she was going through the different award categories, the chapter advisor will be the only one that submits for the chapter officer team award. So you don't have to go through your student, your chapter delegate in order to go into the award entry site and copy and paste your answers into that application. For regional coordinators, they're going to be submitting for regional officer nominations, but then everything else really is open for the students to be doing this work. And we highly encourage you. We want advisors there coaching the students through the process. You can definitely participate in brainstorming and editing sessions, helping proofread. But of course, the students are the ones that are primarily writing most of the Hallmark Award entries. And it's perfectly fine for them to be responsible for going into the application website and copying and pasting those finalized answers into the application. We have had advisors do that. There is not a certification or any kind of sign off that chapter advisors have to do. And so don't hesitate to delegate that to your chapter delegate. That's why you have appointed hopefully at least one student to fulfill that role for your chapter.
Is this one mine, Patty?
No, I can do this one. Hold on a second.
Okay.
So when you go in and look at, when you go into, this is for advisors, when you go in, there's some symbols that you'll want to look at, and it's a way to judge, you know, what's been processed and what hasn't. Unopened applications will be noted with the I symbol for incomplete, right? So you'll want to see, check on that section to see, okay, what's missing in that section. You will see a link to begin now. Once an application has been started, it will move to the bottom of the list on the applications of the dashboard, right? Applications in progress will be noted with an orange triangle. And then applications considered completed or submitted will be notated with a green check mark. The dashboard is the best location to view the statuses of all of your applications. Use the Hallmark Awards drop-down menu on the top navigation bar to quickly move to another application, and then click Begin Now to move to open an application from the dashboard.
Patty, can I share one thing?
Sure. Yeah.
So I just want to let everyone know that as soon as you log in for the very first time, Honors in Action and College Project are going to be down at the bottom. And that's because we've added text that shows your chapter, college, campus, city, and state, so that you can verify that information for us. And that is certainly something that your student should be able to do as well. So don't feel like that only the advisor can do that. But that means that, again, the entries are found at the bottom. So just want you to know that.
Awesome. Thanks, Jennifer. Enter application content. So the application text automatically saves as you enter content. The word count for the responses will count as content as entered. You will not be allowed to go over the word count, as you will no longer be able to enter further text. So each section has a word count, and you just want to be very mindful of that. Content may be copied and pasted into the online application. However, be sure to proof the content for any errors after pasting, right? It could be 100% perfect in your eyes in outside of the system, and you copy and paste it in, you still want to check it again and again and again. Okay, you just want to make sure that nothing happened in the transmission. Formatting, this is key. Formatting such as bold, italics, and underline will be removed if content is pasted. Formatting functionality is not currently supported within the online applications. Okay, so if you're trying to do bold and italics and you've done it over here, it will not carry over into the system. And Jennifer talked about this. Certification from an advisor is not required to submit the application. Advisors can access the application at any time to verify content entered. Okay. Again, if you have questions, post them in the chat and we will catch up with them. Let's submit the application, right? This is always a glorious time when we're ready to hit submit, the submit button, right? Sometimes some chapters will have a party, everybody will gather around, we just watch the advisor or whoever hit that submit button and we have a party. Once all the content has been entered in each text box, the application is considered complete. You may click the finish button as a formality, but fully completed applications will be considered as submitted as of the deadline date. So you can click on finish, choose OK, and be directed back to the main dashboard, or click stay to remain in the applications. This is key to know. So say it's January, I'm just going to throw a number out there, January 6th and you, or 7th, and you've done this, and then you go back and look at it, you go, you know, I think we want to rethink this. Even though you clicked finish and submit, you can still go back into a college project because it's not due until later on the end of the month, or honors in action. So edits can be made at any time until the deadline. Once the deadline comes, you won't be able to access that application. And you will see them start to disappear because so the first set of individual awards, the administrator awards on December 8th, they'll be there. December 9th, you will not see them in your list anymore. They go poof, right? And then your list gets shorter for what's left to do. What's really good, and I highly encourage it, if you want a copy of your application, click the download button to save it as a PDF before the deadline. If you wait until after the deadline, it's gone. You won't be able to find it. And it's really good to keep it, you know, just for legacy, just so you can have it. It's just a good thing to have. And then to verify if your application has been submitted, just look up at the dashboard to confirm the status of your application: incomplete, in progress, or complete. All complete applications will be considered as submitted as of the deadline date. And please note, email confirmations are not sent out. Okay. Anything you want to add to that? About, I feel like I'm missing something on that, Jennifer. We have all that. Is that straight?
It's good. I was just going to say, if for some reason you totally forget to download your application, you can email me, and I'm putting my email there in the chat, and I'll download it for you and send it to you. So that is, we can go back about 3 years on past entries, but that's as far back as we can go to actually send you your submitted entries. But we do highly encourage you save it, because that's a great resource for future chapter officers to have.
I got to be careful. I'm always asking Jennifer for my 2013 entry from the culture of competition was the theme, and she does not have it. So you better save this. For here, Hallmark Award resources, right? We have loads of them on ptk.org. Some of the, I'm going to highlight two that I think that are really, really, really beneficial to advisors and chapters. And that's our Civic Scholar Journal and Changemakers Journal, which you can click on a link, on this link when you get it, and you'll be able to look at those two. Take a look at those two, because there are plenty of examples of award-winning projects. Now, I say award-winning, they may not be, they're not perfect. Not all of them are perfect. There is no perfect, but they are award-winning entries, and it will help you get a good understanding of what the Hallmark Award entry is supposed to look like for those two projects. It's all about the process.
and not, I when I meet with chapters and members, I say, we're for either one of these, we're not looking for Nobel Peace Prize worthy award projects. We're more interested in the process, your chapter's process in getting to engage in these two projects. And that's the purpose of it. So if you're sitting here going, well, we didn't do a chapter, a college project, and there's no way we're going to be able to implement something and it be impactful. Yes, there is time, because we're looking at the process, not what the end result was, right? So take a look at those. There's tips on how to do those administrator and advisor nominations. And then there's a whole section, which I love. I spent a lot of time on it. The frequently asked questions for Hallmark Awards. It's a whole section on the page. And it's just questions that we get normally and that almost all the time. And you'll see the answers. And a lot of times you'll go, you know what, I never knew that. And even after 20 some years, I've learned so many new things over the last few days on the Hallmark Awards. So take a look at that. And then for deadline dates and categories and rubrics and everything in between, you want to go to the Hallmark Awards page on ptk.org to get some additional resources. And not only that, Jennifer, Ryan, and myself, Blake, and the team are available. If you have questions, you can always email us and we'll be glad to help you with that. So we are going to turn it over to you guys to ask us the questions. I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Patty, one question that I responded to in the chat, but I think it's good to repeat it here, if that's okay, if I can jump in.
Yeah.
Someone was asking about, particularly for the advisor awards, where you need a college administrator nomination. How do you get that application to the administrator? What we recommend is the chapter members just send an email, maybe coordinate with the administrator's executive assistant to send them the question that they're responding to. And then, because it's only one question, so they don't have to write a lot. And then that person can send the file back to the student as a PDF. And then that student can then just upload the PDF into the application form. So they're not having to copy and paste anything. They literally are just uploading that particular administrator's nomination. And it doesn't have to be the college president. It can be another administrator on campus for the advisor award.
I'm going to add something here too. And
Yes.
I'm speaking directly to advisors, because the thing that you think about as you go through the process is this question of humility and getting nominated for an advisor award. Let me be very blunt here. We want you to model what we expect for the students, which is advocacy. So for example, to be nominated for an advisor award might require you to coordinate a bit with your students. They may need to know that that is an option. You may have a co-advisor that you say, look, they've done a great job. We want to do that. If a student comes to you and says, hey, I've done great work, I really would love to be nominated for this. That's advocacy for themselves. We want to see that. And it is not just okay, but celebrated and encouraged for you as advisors to be recognized for the student success work you do. If you are an advisor that's relatively new and you say, okay, I want to apply, say, for Paragon Award for new advisors, that is going to require, I think, Jennifer, correct me if I'm wrong, that would require an administrator to write a letter for you. Is that right?
Yes, and they're just responding to one question. So it's a very pointed question, and they don't have to just, start from scratch. They're addressing a question.
That is correct. And administrators are thrilled to do it. Students are thrilled to do it. Lots of advisors, so you may get nominated and maybe you're recognized at Catalyst, maybe you're recognized at the regional level. Please don't be shy about that, because remember that to get 5-star, you need an individual award. If the way you can get your students to a 5-star chapter is for them to nominate you or a co-advisor for an advisor award, that is totally acceptable, appropriate, celebrated. So at PTK, we're not just about celebrating the students, we're also about celebrating you, the student success champions. So please, hope to see some of y'all up on the stage in Denver. And if you participate virtually, hope to see y'all being celebrated with us virtually as well.
I saw a question from Kyle. He was asking me about word counts. Each of the entries are different. All the word counts are different, but that's something you will see when you log in, Kyle, to see what the word, and also on the rubric, you'll see them on the
Yes.
rubrics too, as well.
Yes,
Thank you.
and I can share, oh, sorry, I think somebody else was talking.
Sorry, Jennifer.
Yeah.
I was saying thank you for answering my question. I didn't understand that very much.
Yes, it's a great question, Kyle, and it is true that every category has its own, word count limits. It's important to note that the college project and honors and action project, we are really just giving you the total word count, and you decide which questions get the most content. So for college project, you have 1,600 words, and for honors and action, you have 2,600 words total.
If you have questions, don't hesitate to put those in the chat. We want to help out. Also, just want to add, and we've mentioned this before, but a lot of stuff may come up as you work through the process. Please don't think that any question is too small to email, jennifer.stanford@ptk.org, Patty, Reagan, Ryan, myself. I'll mention too, she's not here because she's out today, but some of you know about Susan Edwards, who's our Associate Vice President for Honors Programs and Undergraduate Research. In many ways, the guru of undergrad research and honors programs. She loves to get emails if you say, hey, we just want to try honors in action. Can you maybe give us some tips? Can you talk us through this? It is not too late. And I know Susan.Edwards@ptk.org will also be happy to talk to you. And I know she's been out at some of the regions and talking to some of the chapters. So we are here to support you.
We have a quite rubrics were mentioned early on. Are those accessible somewhere? Yes, they are. They're on the Hallmarks page, and I'll put the link here. And then also when you go into my.ptk.org, when you enter the application, you can find the rubrics there as well. But for just the to get them real quick off of the website, I will get them for you and put the link in the chat.
I've got that one, Patty. So
Okay, thank
okay.
you. Yeah. There you go.
I know that there was someone, I know Tammy, you were saying your students did have trouble accessing it. They just make sure they're going to the same website where our scholarship application is. And it also can come up as scholarships.ptk.org. But they should, I could double check after this webinar to make sure that everything is showing correctly for your chapter to have delegates. And so I'll follow up with you on that one.
All righty. So is it giveaway time, Blake, or what?
I think it's giveaway time. I was just going to say, don't hesitate and really get in there. That website that Jennifer put, our Hallmarks website, you may or may not have interacted with that before, but it has great information to just check the rubrics. If you're going to nominate for a particular award, you want to know, what is the rubric? What do I need to do? That's a great place to check that. I see a question I think I can answer. Kyle says same process for regional project. Yes. So for regional awards, the regional coordinator is like the advisor, that gets in there and does the delegates and runs the process. So your regional coordinator will have information for that as well. Great question. But yeah, Patty, I'm going to turn it over to you for the bling, and whatever you need from us, let us know. Try to give me the prize if you can.
Well, I'm going to let you pick the first number. Between 1 and 250. Okay,
this is very important role, and I want to put a lot of thought into this. So, okay, I'm picking a number between 1 and 250. I think I'm going to go with my age. So I'm going to say 25.
Oh, how cool. Nancy Weissman. I know she can't be with us today, but we talked this morning. She's awesome. She last minute. Okay. Ryan, give me a number.
All right. My grandmother is 96, so I'm going to pick 96.
Oh, nice. Tammy Anderson.
I saw
Yay.
Tammy on here. Congrats, Tammy, Dr. Anderson.
Dr. Anderson. Yep. Jennifer, you're next.
Okay, how about 125?
125. Michelle Visco from Beta Delta Sigma. Yay. Reagan, you want to pick one?
Sure. How about 188?
188. Let's see, 188. Tracy Felton from Iota Xi at Union County College in the Middle States region. Yay. And you know what? I think I'm just going to pick on Glenn Raffling. Will you pick a number for me between 1 and 250?
250.
Yay.
That is some power we are exceeding to the gentleman from Colorado, but I fully support it.
We're going to give that to Terry Gilmore, Alpha Beta Phi, Midland College in Texas. Yay. So that's 5 for today. So we'll get those out to you from the store. They'll be sending you some good bling. We also want to let everybody know, we sent it out in the email this morning. We're going to do another chapter leaders and officers session on November the 3rd at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, where we will take a deep dive into the individual Hallmark Awards and highlight what a nomination should look like. It shouldn't look like a recommendation letter, but it should look like a story of gratitude and excellence on behalf of the person that they are nominating, and some other kind of cool things with that too. And in November, also in November on the 17th, we'll be back with session 4 for the advisors, where we take a look at the end of the year. You believe we're saying end of the year checklist already? I'm not even there. It's just too much for me. We're going to take a look again at the administrator awards. Then we're going to talk about some other things that are going on that we're going to get ready for as we get ready for catalysts like international campaigning and regional officer campaigning and all those types of things. And then we're going to let you guys ask us all your questions, because we know you have a real long checklist at the end of the year, and we want to be here to support you. You don't have to wait until November 17th to ask us those questions. Feel free to reach out to us. And then our last advisor session will be in December, where we're just going to have some hot chocolate and cookies. Well, the chocolate, hot chocolate mug. What you put in it is your business. But we're just gonna relax and cheers to a phenomenal year, and answer any final questions before we get ready for the holiday break. So.
I was gonna just add just real quick. So Patty, on the November session that you mentioned, I did hear from a couple of y'all that are not just wanting to submit, but wanting to win the administrator awards. So we will have some tips on that about, especially with the rubrics, how to write an application that really helps you win those administrator awards. And yeah, then look forward to celebrating in December. Sorry, Patty, back to you.
It's okay. I'm good. So if there isn't anything else, we are so glad that you came and joined us today. We will get the PowerPoint and the recording to you either later this evening or sometime tomorrow, and you'll be able to review it and share it with your fellow advisors and even your chapter as well. Thank you.